guys and girls, welcome back to Watch the Time. Do excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. We're coming into that season where the weather starts changing. But thanks for tuning back in. I'm really pleased you come back to see. I'm really pleased also to bring you this watch. It's an Addiesdive. I'm very fortunate. I've got quite a good relationship with Addiesdive. So we've been talking quite a lot over the last few months. They've obviously been watching my videos and other videos of people and comments because they've made the change that many of us have been asking for. So you'll see the logo, they've now got it in sort of like italic style writing, nothing else, and it does make a whole lot of difference to the watch. I was scrolling through, as I do on AliExpress, looking at new releases. This came up and I was like, wow, I need to have a look at this watch. Fortunately, like I said, I've got a good relationship. They gave me a little bit of money off just to feature on the channel. Doesn't change anything, no. This is the AD2038. Like I said, for all intents and purposes, you know what you're going to get from Addiesdive. Good finishing. The only thing I'm disappointed to see is it does have a mineral crystal, but the loom looks good as it does on Addiesdive. The finishing looks good. Fully milled clasp, all for £100. Probably a little bit less of vouchers and coupons and stuff, but it's looking good at this point. Seiko NH35 movement, and we know what we're getting now of Addiesdive. They're doing some really, really good stuff. Does this continue in that vein? Is this one that you should be getting as soon as you can? I've tried doing that. But hopefully, like I always say, by the time we get to the end of the video, you know if it's for you or not. If it is, please use the link in the description. It's an affiliate link, but it doesn't cost you anymore. But with that being said, thanks for tuning back in. And it's about that time to get the camera turned around and get on with it. Alright guys, so this is the watch. As I said, I've still got a bit of a cold, so do bear with me. But this is the usual packaging you get from Addiesdive. Briefcase style, sticker on the top. You got 4 clips just holding it in place. I've already unclipped it. There's the watch. You get all this stuff in there. You get a sizing tool if you want to change the size of the bracelet. I never use that. I've got a few bits and pieces. Warranty card not signed. Instruction manual, hang tag, and you'll see also that I've removed 5 links for it to fit my wrist. So there we go. That's all that stuff. Let me just put all that to the side, and then we can focus on the watch. It's a little beauty, isn't it? It really is. I was really impressed with the fact that they've gone for the logo. They've gone for just nice italic writing, Addiesdive at the 12 o'clock position. I think that's going to make a lot of other people happy also. So the model number for this is the AD2038. A really, really new watch. This has just been released, and during the sale, it's going to be a good price. So I'd definitely opt for that time period. So there we go. Inside it's running a Seiko NH35 movement. I'll bring some information up about that movement now. You've heard it all before, guys and girls, to be honest. Rugged, reliable, all the superlatives that you can really chuck at it. 24 joules, 21,600 beats per hour, 41 hour power reserve. And this one's running about 8 seconds fast a day. Not the most accurate one I've had in recent times, but still well within the parameters set out by Seiko. See, that's the Seiko NH35 movement inside, also known as a 4R35 when in an actual Seiko watch. So there we go. The construction of the watch, aside from the crystal, is all 316L stainless steel. So you'll see on the case, it's all brushed at the top. It's polished at the sides. Nice transitions, you'll see, nicely done. The bracelet is brushed at the sides. You've got polished center links inside there, polished also at the sides. So brushed, polished, and polished at the sides. The clasp is all fully milled. We'll go through that in a few moments. That's all brushed, polished at the side, or brushed at the side, polished chamfered edge going around there. The case back, so you've got solid end links. It's all brushed at the back of the bracelet. The case back is all brushed. You'll see some signage on there. We'll go through that as also. And brushed at the back of the case also. So a bit of a mixture of brushing and polishing, and we've come to expect it to be done decently now from Addiesdive, and that is definitely the case with this watch. The case thickness of the watch is 13.1 millimeters. The case diameter, I measure from the 8 to the 2 o'clock ordinarily. It's coming at 38.7 millimeters, and when you go from the 9 to the 3, including the crown, it's coming at 41.3 millimeters. The lug width on this is 20. That does taper down to 16 and back up to 18 mil at that fully milled clasp. And the lug to lug, tip to tip, is a true lug to lug, because you'll see it's got female end links of the center link, and it's coming at 47.8 millimeters. So good proportions there, guys. I think you'll agree. It's doing well for itself in terms of the dimensions at this point. The bezel on it is a fixed high polished bezel. That's one thing I didn't mention when I was talking about the accent. There are different sort of brush surfaces and stuff, but yeah, it's a high polished bezel. The crown is situated at the 3 o'clock position. It's a screw down crown, a tad smaller than I would have liked. But there we are. In the case back, I did show you just a moment ago. That's screwed down, and let's bring it up to the camera. Yeah, it's got some signage on there of all the stuff we're going to go through. So there we go. The bracelet, as I've said, tapers down nicely. It's got 4 mils of taper going from 20 to 16. As I said, it's got push pins. Excuse me, I didn't mention the push pins. It's got push pins just to make it nice and easy to sort of change out, which is why they gave you that tool. Also, the clasp it comes on it is a fully milled clasp. Very, very comfortable. Yeah, no real issues. A couple of sharp edges in places. But yeah, generally fully milled. It's got 5 levels of micro adjustments. You're going to be able to get that perfect fit for yourself. Also, the crystal covering the dial, unfortunately, is a mineral crystal. I would have liked to have seen a sapphire crystal on this watch, but no such luck. It's got a mineral crystal on there. The water resistance of the watch, you'll be able to make out down at the 6 o'clock position. It's got 100 meters, so that'd give you 10 atmospheres of water resistance, and the weight will appear in the top right. It's just above 128 grams with 5 links removed. With those 5 links back in, you're probably touching around 150 grams. So a decent bit of heft really for the dimensions of the watch. So there we go. But let's have a look at the dial in just a bit more detail now, guys. So what you've got a minute track going around the outer edge. That does distort with the crystal because it's quite domed crystal. So at the edges it does distort. Every hour you've got a yellow baton, sort of Sofotina style. You've only got numerals from 12 and 6. There's no 3 and 9 and other ones. You've got 12 and 6 for Arabics just inside that baton. You've got Addiesdive printed onto the dial in that sort of italic writing that I was mentioning before. I do like that. I think it's a nice addition. It's a matte black dial. Also, you've got automatic 100 meters, 330 feet, just above the indices at the 6. The hand and indices, I must say, they're very well colour matched. That's not always the case when you're looking at these watches, guys, to be honest. That's nice to see. I'll also bring the lume up now, where we're talking about that sort of stuff. Yeah, the lume on this was actually really, really good. Not that I was expecting anything less, but it was nice to see that the lume is consistent with Addiesdive. They've definitely extended it to this watch, which was really, really nice to see. As I said, matte black dial. High polished hands, different lights, they look different colours, but they are silver high polished hands. Good proportions on them as well, cathedral style hands, reaching out to where you'd want them to reach out to, which is also good to see. Let me just unscrew the crown. So you've got a date window at the 3 o'clock position. If you take the crown all the way out, it will hack because it's running a Seiko NH35 movement. You put it back in, it will start back up again. You can turn it away from you, just to put some charge in there. Let me see if I can take that to the first position with these gloves on. And then you can scroll it towards you to change the date. Simple as that. I would have quite liked to have seen a colour match date window. Date wheel, excuse me, where so rather than white with black, I'd rather black with white because that's in keeping with the dial. But there we go. And then all you do afterwards is just screw it back up. Like I said, nice and easy. If I can do it with gloves on, I'm sure you can do it without gloves on, or with gloves on if that's what you prefer. So there we go, guys. That's the dial, that's the hands, that's the movement. Let me just pop it on the wrist quickly, give you an idea of what it looks like on my wrist. Okay, so guys and girls, this is what it looks like on my wrist in my studio conditions. You'd have seen it on the outside shots in the intro. But I think it wears really well. Nice bit of AR coating on there as well, which has made it much, much easier to film and take shots of, which is good to see. And I do like that logo. Looks far, far better, much more cleaner, much more suited to this style of watch also. So there we are. Okay, so guys and girls, that would now take me on to what I think is pants and pucker about the watch. If you've ever watched before, you'll know I always start with pants. I like to go on a high with pucker. So what I think is pants is I've got 3 things, to be honest. I did kind of mention them as we've gone through the video. But yeah, one thing I will mention is sharp edges. In and around the bracelet, there are some sharp edges on there, which is unfortunate. I've not had it before on an Addiesdive watch, so there's a few sharp edges to be aware of. At one point I did mark my wrist a little bit, which was extremely unfortunate. It's the first time I've had an Addiesdive that was like that. But yeah, a few sharp edges on there to be aware of. The date colour as I just mentioned. It's got white with black writing, which is very, very common, but for this watch, I think they could have nailed it and put black with white writing. That would look far, far better on there, if you ask me. And the crown size, as I said, it's a kind of mil or two undersized. It's a little bit, you can do it, even with gloves I can do it, but you could do with being a bit bigger. The crown's just a little bit smaller than I would have liked. Maybe a mil bigger, and it would have been much, much more tactile and easier to deal with. So they're the three things I mentioned, is the sharp edges, date colour, and the crown size. What I think is Pukka, quite a bit more, had to mention it, didn't I? The logo at the 12. The way they've done it, I think it's much more suited, looks much cleaner on this watch, and actually makes it look a bit classier, because I do like the style of writing they've used. So yeah, not as intrusive now with the Addiesdive, given how they've done it. So the logo's good. The hands, there, they look really nice. Nice high polished hands, good proportions on the hands also. So yeah, the loom, as I mentioned, the loom on this is very, very good. Yeah, not that, like I said before, not that I wasn't expecting it, but it's still nice to see. The general look of the watch, I think it looks really, really nice. I was a bit undecided about when the crystals, if you can see there, when the crystal sort of distorts the minute track, but it's not too bad really. At first I was a bit unsure, but I'm not amazed, I'm not blown away by that, but I'm also not bothered about it, so it's okay. So there's not a problem, but the general looks nice. And the price, £100 and below for this watch, I think is good value for money, especially in the current climate where everything's so expensive. I think especially in the sale, this is going to be a bit cheaper than that. So I definitely think the price is to be looked at. So let's just surmise what I think is Pukka as I go with the logo, hands, loom, general look, and the price of the watch. And guys and girls, would I recommend this watch? I would. I think it's a definite cool watch. I'd have loved it to have sapphire crystal, obviously. I'm a bit of a sapphire snob, as well as the sort of things I mentioned, the sort of three things. If they weren't pants, this watch would be quite remarkable, but I still think it's a good offering. I'm sure the sharp edges is just confined to this watch. It's not something I've had before, and the other two things are probably things you can live with. So with that being said, yeah, I think it's a very good watch, a good proposition, and one that you should definitely look to pick up at £100 and below. But guys and girls, please let me know what you think about this watch, more importantly, and maybe any other watches you may want to see on the channel. And as always say, don't forget to like, subscribe, and always watch the time. Take care, guys. All the very best.